Hold on. Hold on. So you were starving like Marvin for a Cool J song, and you wound up going to the Habit, and the result was a chicken sandwich that held over till today.
When I opened my eyes, the chicken sandwich was laying next to me on the floor.
Okay.
The remote was underneath me on the couch. My phone was laying up under my head.
Your phone was your pillow?
It was all bad.
Man. So I guess you were taking it back to the days when you slept in caves and had stone tablets as pillows, huh? Sleeping on the floor.
I understand how you felt during those hunting and gathering days.
On hunting and gathering days. Okay. Always, always, always. Um, oh, okay. I was looking at what Jimmy said yesterday about the concert. Um, yeah, man. So I shared a post with Rod yesterday. I won't give like super details, but someone was posting that there was hypocrisy, lots of hypocrisy in America because there was a concert and we still have facilities closed and all of that, and I don't know, man. When I'm looking at what was what, they said this during the actual inauguration. So I don't know if they were calling the inauguration a concert or if they were talking about the concert that happened later on in the evening, which was mostly virtual, right?
Right.
Yeah. So um,
Well, everything was definitely scaled down. You only had the press and cabinet members and congressmen there, besides the singers who only came and left. So I'm sure everything else was scaled down afterwards
right,
to even less than that.
right. Yeah, it is. It's past 12, right? Why is
It is 12:04 on my computer.
Yeah, I thought so. But I'm looking on Facebook to see the broadcast, and it's still showing as if we haven't launched, which we clearly have. So I'm at least a little confused. I'm getting all my checks from the software saying that we are running in all three places. Let me look on my phone. So how you feeling today, Rod? Oh, there we are. We're there. Okay. How you
Uh,
feeling, Rod?
Much better. Much
Yeah.
better. It's like a weight has been lifted. I think I speak for many when I say that as of yesterday.
Okay.
A mental weight has been lifted to at
Word.
least
Word.
feel a little better about the possibilities of what can be. But you know me, I'm feeling like everything now is just starting for people of color. Um, we got the village idiot out of office, but we still have to demand what we want from the next administration. Like, yes, he's out of office, but we still have no legislation to protect what we need.
Oh,
So until we get that, you know, we're still at ground zero. But a good sign that I've noticed throughout history is that anytime people of color make some sort of progress, that's when you see racial unrest. So for what happened January 10th and events leading up to that, especially after George Floyd's death, tells me that we're at least going in the right direction.
okay. That's what's up. So this is Caitlin in bed? This is episode 44 plus one, 46 minus one. I don't know if you noticed, but I made it Roman numeral XLV. So if you guys don't know, the X is 50. The XL is minus 10, so that would be 40, and then the V is 5. So this is episode 44 plus 1 or 46 minus 1. We're not gonna call it what it is just because we're not trying to give that dude any life now that he's gone. You feel me?
Right. Yes, sir.
Straight up. All right, well, I mean, I know it's only been a week, but we're back at it. So I am AC from LA. My guy right there is Saucier Senior. I'm Anthony Carter. He's Rodney Saucier Senior. And it's been a long time. I shouldn't have left you without a podcast to step to. Think of how many week shows you slept through. Time's up. I'm sorry I kept you. Yo, what's good, Cobbs? What's good, Cobbs? Cobbs is
what up? What up?
He's part of the viewership. How you doing, Mr. Viewer?
My man, that's old school right there.
Old school?
He crossed over on his birthday. He is officially one of those guys with the ligament and the ace bandages.
Oh, slappy dappy. Well, I'm sure Mr. Cobbs, you and Rod can share folk tales, and I'm sure that I'm sure I'll get to you guys at one point, but I guess you guys will still be progressing, so I'll always be trailing you. So every time I experience something new, it'll be something that you guys already experienced and mastered or didn't master and all of that. But, straight up, Eagles sign a doughboy. And I don't think he means the good kind, like my man Beha, who played Little Ice Cube in Boys in the Hood. Beha is part of the Lions family. I don't know if he is Beha Lions, but he's Gaynell's cousin, which means that he was Rod and Portia's child. I'm sorry. Let me stop. Gaynell is Rod and Portia's child, which means Beha is their nephew. I don't know if he's a Lions though. So I don't know. But yeah. All right. So who the Eagles get? Who's the doughboy? Talk to me. Rod seems distracted. Rod, you doing homework? Like, what's going on?
No, I was trying to figure out why this wasn't popping up on my page because I had 3 different people ask me what time were we on.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not on my wall. I'm not understanding why.
Frank Reich's homie, Andy Reid's nephew. Like, come on, dude. That's you dancing around it, bro. Who is it? Who they got? Oh, okay, Rodney's inviting people to the show. Anyway, thank you all for tuning in. I guess my man Anthony Cobbs will tell us in a minute. The Collective Podcast live, episode 44 plus 1, aka 46 minus 1. Speaking of 46, we now have the 46th president of the United States. Hey, there was a world, I don't know if you guys know this, but there was a world in which Joe Biden could have been elected, and he was, and he could have been the 47th president. Rodney, can you explain to me how that could have happened?
Ooh. Okay, let me process what you just said.
Let's say the election happened like it happened. Okay. It happened. And then January 6th happens.
Uh-huh.
Do you understand the world in which Joe Biden, who by all accounts was going to be the 46th president, could have wound up being the 47th president?
If the election was overturned, I guess, and then returned back. I don't know.
Epic fail. Try again.
I don't have a clue.
All right. So you keep your number. President Obama was 44 both times.
Right.
You keep your number. Now, if you leave and come back, like if you take 4 years off, like I forgot who did that in the past.
Was it Grover Cleveland?
Sure, let's go with that. He's got a high school in LA. So then you get a new number. So you will be like 44th and 46th. No, this is how it could have happened. Sriani? No, I don't even. Yeah, you're right. This Nick Sirianni. Hey Siri, Yanni. Hey Siri, Yanni.
Who is Nick Sirianni?
Oh, he's the Eagles coach. Congratulations, Anthony Cobb and
Where
TreVon.
did he come from?
Well, he didn't come from Lebanon. Oh, say it again, no, Siri, I was kidding. I was just kidding, Siri. But thank you. Thanks, baby. So he didn't come from Lebanon like my main man Robert Saleh. So I don't know. I imagine he probably came from Europe.
Wow.
Like maybe Ireland. No, Sirianni. I don't know. He's Indy's fake offensive coordinator.
Wow.
All right.
Did they have an offense that good for him for someone that's going to give him a job?
I don't want to do this. I don't want to do this. If you can't hire Leslie Frazier, who's killing the game, if you can't hire Eric Bieniemy, who's killing the game, and who's the other one I said? The other one that also didn't get hired? Like, this is a joke. This is a joke. You're not really looking for the most outstanding person as said coordinator. You're just looking for the people who you feel like have a hot name. You know, right. And unfortunately, we don't have Jay-Z to make it a hot song. So right now it's just a hot line. You know, shout out to Nas. Todd Bowles, thank you. Yeah, I said Leslie Frazier, Todd Bowles, and Eric Bieniemy in the reverse order. Eric Bieniemy first. It's just, this is disgusting. Italiano. Well, look, I won't hold that against him. That Frank Reich calls the plays, because I don't want them to hold anything against Eric Bieniemy. So what I'm saying is, the Colts, Rodney, to answer your question, no, they were not so explosive and they're also at home now. They lost their only playoff game, so they're not so explosive that Byron Leftwich is who I said, not Todd Bowles. Thank you, Byron Leftwich is exactly who I said. Yeah, some relationship stuff, but Andy Reid was trying to get Eric Bieniemy hired, at least in public, in Philly, and I believe Andy Reid. So I don't know, man. Like I'm disgusted, and you know I like the league, but this is really bad, in my opinion. But let's go back to this, because Rodney is back in civics class at Long Beach Poly. So, Rodney, we know who was president 45, right?
Right.
If he were to be removed from office and Mike Pence were to have taken over, Mike Pence would have become the 46th president.
Got you.
Even for that short amount of time, and then Joe Biden would have been bumped to 47.
I thought of it after the fact, but yeah, I knew once you gave a few lines, I knew what you meant.
Well, like I said, it's you made it a hot line, I made it a hot song. So there you go. I gotta tell you. Yo, my sister, I can't dig into this right now, but my sister said that her phone got stolen yesterday. Her iPhone fucking 12, excuse me, got stolen. Rod, I know you don't know what that means, but that's big, dude. That's horrible.
I just know it's a lot of money. That's all I know.
Yeah, I mean, she's got insurance, but she's got to pay that deductible. All right, so yeah, this is disgusting. All right, let's catch up. So we got Anthony Cobbs checking in. We got Dietrich Ellis checking in. What's up, Dietrich? I didn't realize this was you that typed this. Oh, hi, Dietrich. You are no longer in a blue mask with a Dodger hat on. You are somewhere picturesque taking a photo. That's not even a picture. That's a photo. All right, Dietrich, do tell. Shout out to Dietrich Ellis. Shout out to Anthony A. Cobbs. And what's your middle name? I don't know. She typed in the group text, stolen. Maybe because she doesn't want to alarm me or alarm my sister, alarm my mom. I don't know. But I know that she was in Santa Barbara with her good friend Ariana, whose birthday it was, and they're taking all these nice photos of all this scenic stuff. And now she just texted and said that her phone was stolen. So I hope it wasn't robbed. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah. All right. So okay. So Dietrich is saying pin. Well, either so. All right. So let's go with this. Even if that happened, Dietrich, and your LOL tells me you're kidding, but even if that happened, then it would have been Nancy Pelosi. And so somebody else would have been 46, and then Joe Biden would have been 47. That's my point. Had Trump, trumpets and saxophones and Tiffany's, had 45 been removed from office. That's what I'm saying. All right. Abdul after the GOAT. True story. Rod, translate.
I have no clue what that means.
Oh, that's his middle name. Okay. All right. Anthony Abdul Cobb, straight up. I am Anthony E. Carter. Yeah, we got you. Anthony Eric Carter Jr. on mine. All right, shout out. Hey, everybody, tell us where you're checking in from. I want to say Cobbs is checking in from Long Beach, but he could be in Bell, California or something. So let us know. Dietrich, where are you checking in from? We have other viewers on, we got Facebook viewers, we got YouTube viewers. Tell us where you're checking in from. And if you don't understand, that means where are you? Rodney Perry, what up, Rodney Perry? I believe Joe Biden will do more than one term. I believe Joe Biden will do 2 terms. I believe Joe Biden will do 8 years. And so, but whether he does 4 years or 8 years, Kamala Harris can't run until 2028, as long as he's alive. So I expect him to do 8 years, and I expect Kamala Harris to succeed him. All right.
He's going to need 8 years because that first 4, he's probably going to need that to undo all of the nonsense that was put in place. He probably will be signing executive orders for the first 100 days.
That is hilarious. So listen, really quick. All right. So Cobbs is checking in from Santa Fe Springs. Everybody tell me where you're checking in from. Okay. Well, I'm going to come right to you, Rodney. One sec. So Rodney brings up a good point. It brings up age. But Rodney Perry, what you don't realize is my co-host here, Rodney Saucier, is 178. Doesn't he look great? He can run if he wanted to. Like, so you never know. But Rodney makes a good. Okay. So, man, I don't know what to do with that. We're going to get to that in a second. Everybody tell us where you're checking in from. Cobbs is in Santa Fe Springs, which is California. Rodney Perry is checking in from Atlanta. Shout out to my cousin Bianca out there. She just got approved for some investment property in Florida, but she lives in Atlanta. Keith Lester is out in Maryland. What part of Maryland? You in PG County? Or wait, PG County.
He's in Laurel.
You're in Laurel. Okay.
That's my long time next door neighbor from when we were preschool age.
And he's out there.
And he went to Howard a year after I got there. So we've been around each other our whole lives.
So he knows about some of them stories you be sharing with me.
All times. And then some. And then some.
My goodness. All right, let me go back to this. Let me go back to let's see. Javon. What up, Jay Moore? Checking in from Culver City, California. Shout out to the Fox Hills Mall, which is now Westfield Plaza at Culver City. Something like that. I used to live out that way in Fox Hills. All right, so Rodney Perry is saying, well, first of all, he said, Rodney, you look great for 178. Black don't crack. Boom. All right. So Rodney, at age 78, Rodney Saucier, Rodney Perry wants to know, will Joe Biden run again at age 78? And I haven't, or
that's a really good question, but
at age 77, I should say. And then he'll turn 78. I have an answer, but I'll let you go first, Rob.
I think it really depends on how he fits this first 4 years. If they start to feel like he's slipping, or if he's starting to lose some people, then he won't get a second term. But it really is really going to depend on what he puts in place.
Okay, so let me
Because
actually,
Reagan was pretty old too.
let me interpret what Rodney is asking us. He's not saying based on performance. He's saying, will this dude run again at age 78?
I think he would.
Okay, I do too. And so, and I also think that he will, and it's not, I don't, so here, I want to respond to what you said, Saucier. So, and Cobbs, are you coming on? I emailed you the link, you and Jimmy. So it's up to you. Javon, you ever coming on the show? So this is what I'm saying. He's been in the White House before, although he was the vice president. So I feel like he knows how a lot of things work, right? And then he's been in the Senate since what, 22 years after you were his kindergarten teacher. Yeah. So Rod, I feel like he's got an advantage over other people who have taken office. So he really can hit the ground running, and he's going to have the right people in place to be able to multitask. That's what I feel. Oh my God, I see Lee Corso over here. What did God say? I couldn't hold it. That's why I didn't look at it while I was talking.
I couldn't hold it.
Hey, so what head is he gonna put on? Oh man,
hey, man, right. You guys, and Biden and Noel Jones, you guys get along pretty good to be the age you are. So
So
Noel's still knocking it down. You still knocking it down?
No, Perry. What I was saying was, his birthday's at the end of the year, so I want to say that he turned 78 late last year. So my point is, he would be running at 77 and then turn 78. I wasn't saying he's not 78 yet. So fact check that for me, Rodney. See when Biden's birthday is. So what you guys probably missed yesterday. I know you didn't miss the inauguration, or maybe you did. I know some people who didn't watch it because I read their posts and I laughed at them. But I laughed at them because of what they said, not because, like, if you guys didn't have time to watch, it's fine. But if you notice, there were dignitaries in place, and then there were dignitaries that didn't show up. So President Jimmy Carter, 96, doctors wouldn't let him travel. Vice President Dick Cheney, he and his wife couldn't travel. Nisha told me she was letting Rodney go, but Rodney's doctors wouldn't let him travel. So I don't know. And then Al Gore. I'm doing it in age order. So Jimmy Carter, Dick Cheney, Rodney, and then Al Gore. And I don't know what happened with Al Gore. I saw Bernie slip in there. Dan Quayle was there. I don't know. Al Gore. Nobody said his name, so I don't think he made it. Amanda Gorman is amazing. She's from Los Angeles, and that's an LA hat that this guy Cobbs has on. Thank goodness he's not wearing an Eagles hat or any Eagles gear. He's probably protesting. Hey Siri, Yanni. I don't know.
I'm wearing my lambda. I'm representing my fraternity. Lambda, and Omega Moves.
Tri-lamb.
He's like, try lamb. Okay.
Since everybody had their purple, they pink and green, they pearls and chucks, and they Founders Day, and I'm representing the tri-lambs of Lambda.
Woo!
Still one of the best scenes in the comedy ever when they were getting punked by the Alpha Betas, and the Tri-Lambs had to show up to the pet rally, and they hit that bass. He was like, "Wait a minute!" And the bros showed up. You got to watch Revenge of the Nerds if you ain't seen that in a while. That's a classic spot.
Part one.
part one only. That's the only one I could stomach.
All right.
So the tri-lambs.
So this is our guest host, Anthony Cobbs. He comes on quite a bit. Shit, I think he comes on more than Trey.
Trey's mad as I am about the hire in Philadelphia.
And yet here you are. So like, you know,
well, I didn't see the link. I don't even use that Google until nighttime. That's my personal Google. So during the day I use my Office 365 and my Yahoo for work. And then at night. So but I'll look at it from now on. I didn't know. Well,
send me that email address so that
all right.
One of them, like your 0365.
My day. All right.
Let me share this real quick since my man Mamelo mentioned Chucks and Pearls.
Yeah. Get it, Caleb.
Oh. Let me sound them up. Let me turn the sound on. Sound off. 1, 2. Uh-oh. Oh, who's that? Let's start it over. Okay, I have the sound on. Let me start it over.
Now you're cheating. You cheating. You're using your princess.
I love you too, Munchie. I love you too. Look at my baby. Yeah. No, babe. Mommy's not back yet. She'll be back soon.
I went and bought that chair too. I went and bought that beanbag chair. It's amazing.
You bought that beanbag chair?
Oh yeah, Big Joe. I got one right
here. It is amazing. My mother bought that for Kayla. Like that's literally Kayla's chair, and her grandmother bought it for her. So.
It's great for watching the game. You should try it.
So that's weird. I got somebody on my podcast asking about a shirt and saying AC, but he's not talking to me. He's talking to Cobbs. Go ahead, Cobbs. You want to answer that for
J-Mo? It's a place called a $6 T-shirt. I got a bunch of them in the mail. I was bored online, just ordering stuff up. So I got a whole slew of funny shirts. I got Soul Glow.
Wow.
So that's a classic. I got my Houston Asterisk shirt. Classic. I got one for church. I'm #blessed. And I got my Mighty Mix boxing gym.
All right.
Rocky. That's the easy free pub for the $6 t-shirt.com.
What do I do, Mick? All right. So
I also got a poke high. Al Bundy.
I saw Poke High. You wore that, right? Yesterday?
Yeah, on the podcast. Yeah. 4 tubs in one game, baby.
So check it out. Since we're asking about shirts, Legal Hustle, t-shirts and hoodies and masks and hats at thelegalhustle.com. Thelegalhustle.com. And this podcast is sponsored by Legal Hustle Apparel. Just letting y'all know. Everything is reasonable. Rodney just got his hoodie that he ordered a while ago because he didn't put the address on the order. So
love it too.
See, the problem when Rodney ordered, the problem was he was thinking back to the original days when he was one of 10 people on earth and they could just find you. So he just put his name on the order, didn't put an address. So it didn't find him. But
yeah. So what we got today? What we getting into first? We're starting on can we start on the lawsuit?
Whatever you want to start with, Rod. I'm sorry. I got stuff going on in the background. I don't know what it is, so I'm trying to figure it out.
So for those out there who don't know, there's a lawsuit going on against the NCAA from players who represent HBCUs, and they have filed a lawsuit about an unequal playing field when it comes to requirements graduation requirements, the postseason, and facilities. And they want the NCAA to make changes. And that's like a huge lawsuit that no one's talking about. We don't hear about it on ESPN or anywhere. And they do have to make changes. They make these rules, and they're very subtle. It's almost kind of like, in regular sense, it's almost like immigration, where they say, "Hey, we got to close the borders." And it sounds great because they tell people, "Well, your taxpayer dollars are paying for these people to do this and that." What they don't say is it singles out Hispanics and Africans, because what's not talked about is that a lot of those immigrants are from Africa or from the Caribbean. They're not necessarily from Mexico. And that means that it gives an unequal playing field, because you got Europeans immigrating who come straight in. So that's one of the things that happens also in sports. When you have graduation requirements and certain other things, and you have, according to the article, you have Ohio State and Alabama and Florida with an average of like 28 staff members to help kids pass classes, and then you have an average of 5 or 6 at HBCUs. And so they have enough money where they're putting straight A students on the team just to raise up the graduation rate. And all of the white students are graduating and all the black students are not. And the team is mostly black. So that needs to change. And if they're going to be recruiting these black players to their school and promise them all these things and promising their parents, they need to make sure that these kids are graduating. There's nothing that they can do if the kids are leaving early for the NFL or the NBA or whatever. That's not on them. But while they're there, they have to make sure that the kids who don't have the things in place to finish school.
So what do we do?
They need to put in some kind of system where there's a maybe a sliding scale, or go conference by conference. But it can't be something general across the board where you hold smaller schools to the same standard as larger schools with huge multi-billion-dollar budgets. That can't happen.
Your thoughts, Cobbs? Hey, oh, is he out? Damn, he's big. Zaire, what are you, 13 now?
Look at that. He never left. He just walked around the corner, waited for his name to be called so he could have a reason to come back and join in.
You 13?
Yes, no.
No, yes, no.
Oh.
You're 6, right?
I'm coming, Mom. I'm 6.
All right, see you later. Zaire. HBCUs, Cobbs.
Yeah, I heard. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yep.
I had to change my setup. I was on my laptop. I had a bad connection. Now I'm on my cell phone, so let me know if it sounds too bad. But yeah, when Rod sent that article, I never knew that. I always just thought that the bowl committees picked by conference, and that they just left the SWAC out, they left the MEAC out, whatever conferences our HBCUs play in. I never knew it was because bowl games had a minimum GPA requirement. And if that's the case, and as you read the article, if you did read the article, how Alabama's and LSU's, they are balancing out those GPAs by, the academic All-Americans, kind of helping out those guys who are Prop 48s and who are not as academically inclined, to say it in a nice way. So that's just crazy, man. It really is. And I looking at the number of staff in position at these places to help academically is a travesty, man. You saw 25 is the average number of academic staff at predominantly white institutions, and the average HBCU has less than 10, most of the time 2. Is crazy. So I'm wondering how far this lawsuit will go, if it has any teeth. If lawyers take it on, it must be substantial. So again, with Deion Sanders bringing a bunch of nice recruits to Jackson State, and I believe a lot of other HBCUs will do the same, hopefully that changes the narrative on HBCUs being a viable option for student athletes who want to advance their careers in a classroom and on the football field.
Yeah. One of the best books I've ever read was called Savage Inequalities by Jonathan Kozol. And it talks about the disparities between.
Yeah, I was about to say something, but I'm letting Rod go. Sorry.
It talks about the disparities between.
I can't hear him.
Oh, really?
AC,
can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
It talks about the disparities between what urban schools go through and what urban schools, if that's what you want to call them, go through. They're getting the same budget amount. Let's just say the budget is $10,000 across the board.
I ain't heard a word Rod said. What's going on?
Maybe reset your phone. I can hear you and Rod can hear you.
Yes, right. I can hear everyone.
Let me come out. Let me go out and come back in.
Okay. See you in a sec. Go ahead, Rod.
Okay. So let's just say a budget for every school is $10,000. Well, now you got some schools in the hood who has more needs than that school in Beverly Hills. I mean, they have to worry about fixing the roof that's leaking when it rains. They have to, take part of that money and work on the plumbing for old pipes. They need to really probably pay their teachers a little more to come in those neighborhoods. So the needs for those schools are more than what the needs would be at the wealthier schools, and it fits across the board with sports. I mean, you have a greater need at HBCUs for funding and for other things and more staff than you would these predominantly white schools who come with this stuff already attached. And just the thought of telling HBCUs that they can't have a postseason will constantly kill recruiting. If you know that you can finish the season and you could put, let's just say Jackson State, since Deion is there and since Deion is really pushing for this, if Jackson State players know that after they finish 12-0 and they've gotten some 4- and 5-star recruits that have transferred in, they've knocked off a couple of large conference, Power 5 conference teams, and they feel, hey, we're in the thick of this, and now you tell them that they don't get a postseason, why would other recruits want to come there in the future? I mean, part of the reason you go to a school is for a chance at a championship. So you guarantee that those schools will never have great recruits because they have absolutely nothing to play for. That by itself is an unlevel playing field. That has to change. Because 1 or 2 players could completely change, like Howard. If Maker is there, and if the 1 or the 2 recruits that are considering going there come next year and he's not a one and done, now you got 3 high caliber players out of that starting 5 that could make that team go from 3-27 to possibly 22-8. And now if you tell them, well, we have these requirements, and I know you knocked off Iowa, and I know you knocked off, Pepperdine and some of these other schools, but you don't fit the other requirements, so you can't go to postseason. Then what did they play for? What was all that hard work for? And now other commits are going to read that and hear that and say, you know what? They had a great season. They knocked off these top teams, and they don't go to the postseason. I don't want to go there. So then it's almost like, well, they're forced to go right back to a PWI.
Yeah. No, Deion Sanders is in Jackson State's success will dictate as far as the players they brought in. He really sold them on going to the NFL. He didn't sell them on being on TV and being in bowl games. He sold them on NFL experience, NFL connections, on how I can make a phone call and you get a look. If you are an NFL caliber player, and that's why I'm recruiting you, come here, Jackson State, Walter Payton's alma mater. We get kids out. And that's what kids went there for, to go pro, is not to go to a bowl game. So it really is important that those kids get drafted in the next 3 years.
Yeah. And I mean, media plays the largest impact on everything. And they're already reporting every little crime around Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah, we talked about,
well, this person,
he was robbed. He
got his car broken into. And I tell my mom that, because my mom, as you all know, her is a pastor. And I tell her, when she's speaking, the adjectives and the words that she chooses play a huge impact on what mindset people will have. It's like that episode of Martin when Shanae's car got hit by Tommy, and she says, he just smashed into my car. He was probably on that stuff. and it was nothing more than a fender bender. But if you hear
the words,
smashed into, you thinking, wow, major damage. And the same with Deion. If you hear he was robbed, you're thinking, man, somebody probably ran up on this brother and pulled out a pistol and said, give me your stuff. And it was nothing like that. It was an act of, they broke the window and just picked up his radio and took it, completely different. So that part needs to change, but there needs to be an overhaul with the NCAA on how they treat these situations, so that there could be a level playing field.
All right, I've got a couple questions. So, but let me check some people in. So, my pops is on. What's up, AC Senior? Tell us where you're checking in from. Jimmy Mack, what's up? Tell us where you're checking in from. Judy Carter, tell us where you're checking in from. Just type in the city that you're in right now. So, Rod, help me understand. So, you're talking about bowl eligibility. My question is, how do we have if that's the case, and I haven't read it yet, but just walk me through it. If that's the case, then how do we have the Friendship Bowl, which is the SWAC versus the MEAC, with the Southland officiating? Like, how is that? That's a bowl game, right? Every year, and it's the SWAC champion versus the MEAC champion, and it's considered a bowl game. So how do we have that if the barriers are in place that you're talking about?
They can't go to a major bowl, and
well, what is a major bowl?
Any kind of major bowl, whether it's cotton, any bowl that other teams would be able to go to for much larger pay. Because you as you know, those bowl games, those payouts, they get split to all of the schools in that conference. So the pay for the SWAC and the MEAC is peanuts compared to what, let's just say, even the Holiday Bowl would get.
You say the Cotton Bowl for the HBCUs, that just doesn't sound right.
Right.
The Cotton Bowl. You field hands versus the house Negroes in the Cotton Bowl. How about it? While we played the Masters in Augusta.
Yeah.
It's simple as the Sugar Bowl.
All right. So I feel like I should have. I didn't know this was going to be a topic, so my bad. I need to dig deeper because
Come on, man. Rodney sent the article and tagged you in it. Do your homework.
But I'm not just not understanding. So all right, well,
Jimmy Mack is exactly right.
They're cool with us playing each other for postseason peanuts.
Right. That's they figure, hey, they're not going to get any money really. They're not going to get any exposure. Let them have that. It's almost like, yeah, you guys go ahead and go play in the backyard.
Jimmy playing the Cotton Bowl. Of course, Jimmy playing the Cotton Bowl. You Negroes need to play in the Cotton Bowl.
Yeah, but that needs to change. They should be eligible to play in whatever bowl game other schools are playing in.
I thought it was by matchups. Now I know it's all.
So all right, where did you send this piece, Rod? Where did you send it?
It's on my page, I think, my Facebook page.
Okay. So summarize it. So you're saying HBCUs cannot. Well, okay.
They can only go to the bowl you reference. They can't go to any bowl outside of that.
And it's because of academic.
Now, what about the playoffs? Because they're 1A, they're not 1AA. I mean, I'm sorry, they're 1AA. So
they said we don't qualify academically.
Right.
And that's in your piece, and you've independently checked it.
Yeah. Yes. Even the good schools, Southern and Howard, have 48% fail of the student athletes on the team. So they can't go to a bowl game. They can't go to the tournament. Now, in basketball, they got to win the tournament to get in the 64 teams. But in football, if you have a team that went 8-2, you should at least be able to go to the Holiday Bowl, Liberty Bowl, one of them small bowls.
Wait, isn't the Holiday Bowl our bowl? Isn't that where we go every year?
We trying to go to the Rose Bowl. Other stuff is extra. Aloha Bowl, Liberty Bowl, Holiday Bowl. We don't want them bowls. Cotton Bowl. Cotton Bowl actually pays well. Like Jimmy said, they roll out the red carpet at the Cotton Bowl. But the fact that you are not eligible is racist and systematically wrong.
Yeah. UCLA Holiday Bowl and Emerald City Bowl. All right. So we're gonna dig a lot deeper into what Rod is talking about next week. And I'm coming prepared, and I'm gonna be devil's advocate, but I'm also gonna be well prepared so that we can talk through this.
Now, when you said like playoffs, there is a playoffs for smaller schools. I mean, like they could go and potentially meet North Dakota State in whatever that playoff that they have is. Because Howard has been in the playoffs before for that.
Yeah, it's the football championship series. It's the FCS.
Yeah, but
it's 1AA.
Yeah,
it's 1AA. But they can't go to a bigger bowl.
But Rod, so I guess I can be a little prepared. They're not FBS, so you only have FBS teams going to bowl games because that's what bowl means, football bowl series.
But they won't allow them to even get there because of the graduation rate. And then you also have huge gaps in between the white players who graduate and the black players who graduate. Like 90% of the white players graduate.
You got to read the article.
Yeah, you have to, because they're like certain schools, only 28% of the black players are graduating.
So you're saying Hampton can't go join the Missouri Valley Conference because of graduation rates.
Right.
And it's true, man. I played with some guys from Alabama and LSU, and I wondered, how did you pass the SAT? And their graduation rate at Alabama is pretty high for a team. But the guys that I've known personally, bruh, have you ever read a book? Like I'm really worried about some of my bros knowing how to read, but they can play some ball. So right. I know they're getting covered up. And then I think Jimmy said it best. They are penciling in some grades, man. And It ain't even a secret. Guys are on campus holding a backpack with a cookbook in it.
Yeah, I just heard a brother today on XM NFL channel, and it was hurting my ears. It was like someone scratching a chalkboard the way he was speaking. You know, they were asking him about the new coach for the Chargers, and I won't give his name out, but it was that bad.
He graduated. I dropped out of Head Start to my career as a professional.
Well, even if he didn't graduate, he was there for at least 3 years. I mean, so, you know, he could have been one of those players that left a year early to go to the NFL, but at some point, you know, they're just passing him through. I mean, look back at Dexter Manley. He couldn't read at all.
So I'm not as old as Rod and Cobbs, but I was surprised when I read that. And yes, I read it because I can read, but I was surprised when I read about Dexter Manley. Were you, like, real talk, were you guys surprised?
I wasn't surprised that he couldn't. It's like Floyd Mayweather can't read. I mean, dudes get by in life without skills because they don't need them.
I was with Floyd for 2 days doing that King feature, so I know all about Floyd. I was surprised about Dexter Manley, and I had a great time with Floyd. Shout out to Floyd and his family. This was before all of the
I heard Chris Tucker can't read. You know what I'm saying? Like, people that got skills.
Wait, you can't read, and you asking me? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth?
He had to improvise every line in that book in the movie.
Well, he did a damn good job. Hopefully,
what's my line? What's my line? I can't say that. But it's not surprising at all that people are passed on. We see it in education all the time. Like,
but passed on and can't read. That's all I'm saying. Because listen, I'm teaching Kayla to read right now. And we don't know. I mean, I imagine Kayla's going to be a world-class athlete like Dexter Manley was, but do you really know at 3? Like, you couldn't teach him to read at 3 and 4? That wasn't slavery.
She ain't gonna be strong as some of y'all mamas. Not to bag on nobody's mamas particular, but somebody's mama's strong enough to be a defensive end for the Washington Redskins. Dexter Manley.
All right.
Dexter Manley was a defensive end. They could care less if he could read. I got you.
Let's not lose with Jay Moore. Jay Moore's educating us on the Holiday Bowl. It's for the number 2 team in the Pac-12. So it's a nice payout, but it's a letdown because you're always shooting for your conference championship, right?
The Rose Bowl are traveling.
And in the days before the Pac-12 was the Pac-12, when it was the Pac-10, before a conference championship, you just needed to win outright, and then you would either be in the Rose Bowl or you would be in. Well, yeah, I guess that was just it. You would be in the Rose Bowl, and then you would be vying for the national championship. Like,
well, we was 3rd place. We went to Aloha Bowl and had a good time.
Like my high school teammate Lamar Lyons did with Washington 2 years in a row.
Lyons was a beast.
Yeah.
And there are plenty of high school athletes that you can tell can't read at all.
I was a teacher, man. I was a substitute teacher for a while in Compton Unified, and 5-star running back turned his desk around as I'm teaching, like turn his desk to not face me.
So I'm not going to name any names. Rod, don't say his name.
I won't.
Here's my problem, Mr. Cobb.
I'm a name.
I have a friend. Well, I need his attention. I need to make sure you're listening. I have a friend. Damn it, turn it away. What is this? How to make cereal for college athletes? What did I miss? What is Jimmy talking about?
It's a class.
Oh goodness. Oh, it's a class at Alabama. All right. Let's say
and FSU. Every SEC school offers it. It's a major.
Okay.
Cereal.
All right.
Ridiculous.
Hi, Mrs. Cobbs. Come on, man. Come back. Hi, Joy. Listen.
Oh, Lord. My wife on here. We in trouble now.
Listen. I have a friend who is a substitute teacher at Compton Unified. And I'm fearful that he is a substitute teacher in Compton Unified because of the way that he writes, types, talks. Like, he's, in my opinion, and I'm not a teacher, but my mom was a teacher for 32 years. In my humble opinion, he's way too comfortable with all of his slang and ebonics and all of that. in his text messages, in his emails, in his posts, and in his talking. And so I'm not surprised by what you're saying because he was a substitute teacher while you were at UCLA. So he's been there. He's still a substitute teacher there.
They are trying to find anybody that won't go home crying. I put it like this. I went to a school one time and I stayed for the whole week. They said, we just happy you stayed. The last person came, left, had lunch, said, I ain't never coming back here again. I said, they're just kids.
So substitute teaching is his hobby. His day job is something else. And if I told you what it was, then you would probably know who I'm talking about. But
probably illegal hustle, not legal.
No, it's legal, but he's just not very successful at it right now. He's been working on it for a while. So he said that he wanted to remain a substitute teacher so that he could have flexibility. And I'm fine with him being a sub. I just think that the Ebonics are killing our kids if that's what you are teaching as the teacher. They get enough of that at home.
Hey, you got to do what you got to do in Compton Unified.
All right.
You try to come to class on time and get some work done.
All right, so we're moving on. Anybody want to let us know the new state of the world after Marine One flew off and dropped your boy off at Joint Base Andrews, and then the boy got on the plane with his people and they played My Way by Frank Sinatra. Like, what the fuck? He flew away on Air Force One. Yeah, we know you did it your way, you clown. XLV. XLV. So then we had somebody else sworn in. Joe Biden, 46. Kamala Harris, what is she?
Thank you.
She the 52nd or 54th vice president? I forgot, but it's up there. Amazing, right? Amazing day. We have the first woman, the first black woman. I'm sorry, the first woman, the first black person, and the first South Asian person as vice president of the United States of America. And then we had Amanda Gorman get up there and rock it. I mean, like, you know, and I've already said this to Brianna, but did you see Michelle Obama's entrance and presence and all of that? Like, when you talk about swag, I mean, everybody bowed down to that. Like, she just, was she floating? Like, did her feet even touch the ground?
She could easily run for office and win. Easily.
No, but that's real. I think what you're saying is she could run for office and win without opening her mouth, just with the swag that she does.
That's it.
Because if you hear her talk, she can definitely run for office and win. But
I would not want to disappoint her ever. I'd be like, I'm sorry. I'll do a good job. When she pointed at her like this,
right?
If there was a real king of Zamunda, she would be the equivalent.
Oh man, it is you.
Like they would be throwing rose petals at her feet.
Okay. I mean, all right. So let's go back to Jimmy Mack. So Jimmy, isn't there a fine line between knowing how to relate to the students and actually actually furthering the deficiencies?
The baseline is a little bit lower to start from.
But if you're exacerbating the situation, like if you're furthering the the deficiencies, I think that's completely different. Because, you know, my mom taught in Compton Unified too, and she was not the whole time, but in the beginning, and my mom was always who she was, no matter where she taught, and she generally taught in the inner city, and she didn't bow. I mean, my mom's an English teacher. She didn't bow down to, like, she just wanted to send them home better than she found them. But you're talking about now, Jimmy, like, this is the thing. This dude, my man, my buddy, he's been a sub for like 30 years. Like, this is like, he's been doing this.
You got to teach code switching. I mean, you got to talk to them to get them to understand where you're coming from. And then you got to educate them on how to better themselves.
Thank you.
Trust you and love you. If they don't have a relationship with you, don't think they can trust you. It don't matter what you talk. If you sound like, who's a real prude? If you sound like Brian Gumble, and you go to Compton Unified, talking that uppity, oh, well, how much does he make? They're gonna laugh at you and not even like. So we got to come to them with a little bit of flavor. You got to dress a certain way. You got to be a little bit louder, put some bass in your voice, and then you can do some instruction. Now, if your homeboy is just straight hood all the time, I think that is a situation that you might have to look into. Maybe he should be security or something, but he should be able to turn it on and off.
And that so Anthony Carter, Anthony Cobbs, Jim McElroy IV, Rodney Saucier, we all agree that you have to be flexible, right? You have to, like, going back to what Rod said. Let me see if I can find that banner. No, this was Trey. No, it was Rod. It was Rod. Meet people in life where they are, right? I get it, but then you want to help them advance, like you want. That's all I'm saying. You want to help them advance. You can't live there, and you can't like encourage it. Like, oh yeah, let's talk in Ebonics on Facebook. Let's type longer. Let's type slang in more characters than it would take us to speak grammatically correctly. That's nuts. You're using more energy and more characters to sound like.
Hey man,
I'll leave it at that.
Our kids are behind. We got to catch them up, and the first thing you got to do is get them to trust you. So I agree with what you're saying.
Yeah,
I have to say, but you don't hear me saying certain things, y'all shouldn't say it. But I'm not going to make you be something you're not. So if I got somebody that speaks a little bit rough, I remind them about how I want them to speak in my class. Like, I'm not going to have them disrespecting me, talking crazy to me, cussing me out, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But your grammar does have to improve once you hear me speak. We read a few books. You know, I'll even give them a book that's inappropriate just so they'll read something with different vernacular, different words, so they can start adding to their vocabulary.
Right.
A lot of times it's because they ain't read no books yet. They don't know what people say in certain situations. So it's a baseline, man. We got to start somewhere to educate our kids.
Yeah.
I would love to be in your boy's classroom, though. I'm pretty sure it's hilarious.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll or you could just watch them on Facebook. I'll shoot you the link. I mean, you know.
And I taught special ed, so it was.
Oh man.
It was even more. And Keith still teaches special ed, and I mean, you know, you really love seeing the growth in certain kids. I won't give a name, but Keith and I used to hoop at the YMCA in downtown DC.
That's old.
And we had but their YMCA is on another level. It's like LA Fitness.
The first one.
5 levels to it. But we had a buddy who worked there, and he had a son with a lady that he stopped dating, and she wouldn't allow him to see his son anymore. And it was one of those extreme cases that you see on television where she kept the little kid locked in like the basement for his first 5 years. He didn't know how to walk. He didn't know how to speak. He didn't know how to read or anything like that. So finally, after a long court battle, the guy gets this kid with him full time. And this kid is one of my students, and he comes to class and he says, Rodney, Mr. Rodney, can you please give me extra work? I really want to go. Now, by this time, he's done a couple years in school. His speech has gotten much better, but he's still mentally and developmentally way behind as far as his thinking skills. And so he says, can you please give me extra work every day to take home? I really want to go to a regular school. I want to be with the kids my age group. And I would every day, you know, make out little math sheets for him and little vocabulary sheets for him and grammar sheets for him and let him take home and bring back. And I just love the progression in him. And a few years later, by the time he got to high school, he was, from what I understand, after I left, he was with his regular class doing well. But there are other kids, you know, who really want to be taught, hood kids who really want to be taught, but they want to understand that teachers care about them first. They have a very untrusting attitude to strangers because they've been lied to and pushed away their whole lives. So when they come to another person, it's just like, Let me see what this one gonna do. You know, whatever. You ain't my mama. You ain't my daddy. You don't tell me what to do. And they put up this wall until, as Cobb says, you know, you make them feel okay and you make them feel comfortable. You demand respect, but you make them feel comfortable enough to start to let that guard down and show them, you know, they can be better, and they'll do it.
Amen.
Okay, I can dig it. And so I am surrounded by two former teachers. Nobody. So y'all didn't think that was funny? All right, I'll take it down.
Well, Jimmy don't lie. He's a teacher right now, so he'll tell you the truth.
Yeah. So let's see what his truth is. Yeah.
The Grand Canyon. Yeah, that's about right. You got a lot to close up before you get there, but if you can get there, you good.
Yeah, I still remember. I mean, I had a different kind of situation because I grew up on 95th and Hoover, which for those of you not in LA, that's not a good area. Jimmy knows, but I didn't go to school around there, and I don't think it mattered anyway, just because my mom was an English teacher and made sure that I was well educated and I was
you couldn't say fin too.
I've still never said that.
Accent,
finna, any of that.
I'm finna go. You better not say that in my house.
No. But that's the funny thing. Like, I never said anything I wasn't supposed to say. The only thing I said I wasn't supposed to say, and my dad can attest to this, I don't know if he remembers, but I remember everything. So I have my tape player in the bathroom, and I'm playing Rocket Love by Stevie Wonder. And he came in the bathroom and said something to me. I was in the bathtub. Came in there and said something to me. Then he left out, and then he stood outside the door. Sneaky dad. And he waited for the part where Stevie Wonder said, "You drop my black ass down to this cold, cold world," to see if I was going to sing it. And I absolutely sang it. And so then he popped his head back in there and he said, "Hey, well, let me catch you saying that again." Oh, well, I thought you were gone, but okay. So that's the only thing I said that I wasn't supposed to say, just because I don't know. I learned differently. But again, I'm also someone who doesn't say the N-word, but I believe that my parents have, my sister has, Brianna does, like she just told me every day.
But she said it's so cute. It's so cute when she says it. Mama said, "Daddy, look at them niggas out there playing."
Oh, wait. No. But Kayla, no. Brianna saying it every day. Kayla is definitely not allowed to say it. No. And I don't imagine Braylon has, but I'm sure she's on the path to, just because Brianna doesn't mind. It just, and I got to find my poem, because Amanda Gorman, I'm going to keep talking about her, the poet laureate, the inaugural poet. She made me think about my poem that I wrote when I first got to UCLA called The Word. It's the word, and it's about the N-word. And it's not passing judgment. It's just telling the story of why I don't use it and have never used it. And I don't remember it, so I have to find it. It was in NOMO and it was in the Daily Bruin, and I gotta go to the archives, maybe reach out to Arvley Ward and see if he can find it, because it was a really good poem and I want to share it. All right, moving on. What you got, Jimmy? Okay, shout out. They begin to trust you when they know you're not trying to be inappropriate, and it takes time. But no, I don't say, so I say the N-word, but I don't say, it's not like I say it in a sentence and I substitute it for the N-word. No, I'm only referencing it because I don't say it. It's not like I say the N-word as a substitute for the actual word. I don't say anything where I would use the word. So it's never missing.
I try to tell my students it's not in my vocabulary, but if you acting like a nigga, I'm gonna say it. But I don't use it as nigga. Oh, my nigga. Oh, look at them niggas. I don't say it just because it's appropriate or convenient. It's to describe something. I think it's that Chris Rock joke. I love black people, but I hate niggas. So I don't use the word in my vocabulary as because I use it. It's to prove a point or to point something out. I've actually said it to my class of white kids. Y'all act like some niggas right now. They must have stopped. It was like a pin drop. What? Y'all act like some straight niggas.
So you don't say it like Antoine Fisher's foster mother.
Oh no. That nigga. Like a term of endearment and disgust. I mean, I taught my kids about the word and how ugly it is and the history of it. And that's our job as parents, is to educate our kids and say, if you want to put this in your vocabulary, this is what it means. It means you are limited in what you believe that you are. You're without even knowing it, you're telling your people that you love that they are less than. So it's just like a girl calling each other the B word. I told my kids, I've never called a girl a B word. Never? I said never. No. There's no reason to. But that's just a choice.
Yep.
But I did call Donald Trump a nigga yesterday. I said, now Donald Trump, that's a real nigga. I did say that. I will admit to that. He gonna pardon everybody that did the same dirty dirt he did. That's some nigga activity right there.
That's funny.
All right, so look bottom right, facing Anthony Cobbs. That's a UCLA helmet, and the way that he said he doesn't say the N-word is exactly how my man Thaddeus Massey would say it to me, because that's the thing. Like I don't use it, but I never held it over anyone's head. So Thad would always use it as a term of endearment with me, but never expect it to come back.
Don't be offended, but you my nigga.
Yeah. So did you guys ever see the pencil guy, the white guy who used the N-word in his classroom?
No.
I think I'm sure I heard about it.
Oh my goodness. Hold on. This is when Brianna showed this to me, I lost my mind.
This was several years back, right?
Yeah.
Well, yeah. It's so common now. I live in a predominantly Asian community, and I saw a fight on the corner between two Asian dudes. And the dude told the other Asian dude, "This my block, nigga." I was like, "What?" I almost went outside and said, hold on. What did you just say? My wife said, "Did he say what I think he said?" I filmed it and everything. It was hilarious.
Rod, did you ever flag anybody for saying it?
No. I know. Well, I can't say that I've never heard it, but a lot of times I don't know who actually said it. When on a football field, now on a basketball court, I will, hey man, I'll give a warning like, hey, watch your mouth. I don't like all of that. Don't do that around me. All right, you know, for most of the part, you know, they'll do it. I mean, and going back to what we were talking about, AC, you know, depending on where we are, we got to give a different speech to the captains. You know, we can't go in there being nice if we doing Compton and Jordan like we would if we were doing, you know, Palos Verdes Peninsula versus Chadwick. You know, that's a whole different conversation with the captain's pregame.
Dude, he just said Chadwick. All right, so listen, it's funny that you mentioned Compton and Jordan, because early in my career I had Compton and Jordan, and I did flag somebody for UNS, and his dumbass coach was like, "Well, why did you flag him for that? Why can't he say that?" Well, because he can't say that on the field. It's a derogatory term. Like he wasn't dapping anybody up. He was speaking threateningly to a counterpart, and I'd already warned him. That's the other thing. I'd already warned him. So I had to explain it to the coach, and I finally had to just tell the coach to go to the locker room because he was asking me at halftime. But I'm gonna tell you like this: I don't work high school anymore, but when I did, if you weren't black and I heard the N-word, and I knew exactly where it came from, right? I just want you to know, I always knew. That's an immediate flag. I would ask them, like, why are the black kids letting you say that? What you mean, Rev? We all say it. Oh, well, you're not saying it on the football field. Absolutely not about to say it on the football field. Yeah, but hopefully, Dietrich, you don't use it on the field regularly, because you could curse on the field, but if there's too much cursing on the field, you got to flag that. And it's actually a single curse word at the California community colleges is supposed to be unsportsmanlike conduct in all sports. So it doesn't matter if you curse like a sailor. It's not supposed to be used on the field. So that the same thing applies to the N-word. There's a time and a place. Well, for me, there's no time and no place. But for those of you that use it, there's a time and a place. And the football field is neither. Now, if you're using it on the field, then yeah, you can't flag it, and shame on you. I'm disappointed in you. All right, let me show you guys this clown. Not Dietrich. Dietrich's my dude, but this clown teacher. I'm gonna try not to play the whole thing, but it is actually hilarious.
And nothing more hilarious than the Detroit Lions head coach. We got to saw that later on.
Hey, Siri, Yanni.
In this story, you'll only see on 11.
Valley Traditional High School is in the middle of a racial controversy right now.
Can you guys hear it?
Yep. The N-word towards a student. The word is only 6 letters long, but the impact is far-reaching. And we do want to warn you that some of the language in this story is strong, and it may offend you, it may offend some other people. But since the story is not just about the N-word, it's also about the teacher's intent and definition of the word, we have decided to leave it in the story for you to decide.
Okay, I'm gonna play the whole thing.
And what did he say specifically to you?
Sit down, nigga.
Keyshawn Chambers is a freshman at Valley High School, a Boy Scout, a football player, a member of the ROTC, an honor roll student. He was hanging around his teacher's classroom door in December. The teacher told him to sit down, and the teacher says that Keyshawn used the N-word first.
What?
And I just kind of stunned a second. Well, then get away from the door, nigga. I repeated the same insult because that's sort of what I've been trained to do.
The school district says that is not what they trained English teacher Paul Wilson to do.
He tried to say I said it, and I didn't say it, and no one else in the class knows that I said it because I didn't.
Documents from the school investigation show that several of the students interviewed from Valley did not hear Keyshawn say the N-word first. Dawson says that students use the slang version of the N-word at Valley High School all the time. He says Nigger is a racial slur, but says that students use Nigga as often as they'd say dude or hey man. And Dawson says as much as he does not like the word, he still used the slang version to feel more comfortable with Black students.
Why is this word used so frequently? So I just don't understand it, and I'm trying to understand it. I need help. Yes, I use nigga. I've used it. I admit it. I put the H on it to emphasize.
You guys have a pencil I can borrow?
Nigga this, nigga please, nigga. Hey, can you lend the nigga a pencil?
What kind of example are you setting for your students if you use a word that you don't want them to use?
How old is this video?
Upon reflection, that's
At least a year.
Dawson
Probably more than 10 years.
is without pay from January 9th
Not even
to
like
January
widescreen.
23rd, and he has to go to diversity training. He says that he's learned from this experience and hopes that others think twice before using the N-word.
I will never say any form of nigga. I'm sure of that.
Paul Dawson says that he is sorry for the way things were handled, but Keyshawn says that he is not looking for any apologies.
Apologizing is going to change the fact that it happened and he's not been punished.
And punishment in your mind is?
Not having this job anymore.
Paul Dawson says that he wants there to be a steadfast policy in Jefferson County Public Schools against people using the N-word. Right now, when it is brought up, it's dealt with on a case-by-case basis with the district. And we should mention that Keyshawn is still in Paul Dawson's classroom. Dawson has been with the district for 20 years, and Keyshawn is still in that classroom because Dawson is an honors English teacher. There are very few honors English classes, so he is still with him.
Well, now he was suspended for a while, but is he back?
Damn,
He is back teaching now, and he's still.
Wait, can't you read co-anchor? It said he was.
Can you say sensitivity training?
Wait, so he's the honors English teacher with the hat.
He said it's part of the vernacular. I'm gonna get it in my vernacular. I'm gonna use
it. And it's funny because that's when this determination of ER and A really kicked off after that. Like Rod even came in here trying to talk to me about it. And I'm like, dude, for me, there's no difference. I don't want to hear that politically correct explanation about who should use it and who shouldn't, and if there's an A or an ER on the end. I don't want to hear that.
Yeah, it's hard to justify a word that has so much hate behind it. So I just treat it as a word that I just don't prefer to use. But if I'm going to use it, it better be really, really funny or really, really descriptive. But I won't be using it casually. Like I hear a lot of guys that aren't even African American. You know, I think we've given our Samoan brothers a pass because they basically are Black, if you do the history. And our Latino brothers and sisters, they say it now. It's a little bit uncomfortable when they say it. My Puerto Rican friends, they got in the past, but I'm like, well, let's just use brother. Let's just use homie. Let's use another word. So it's just something you got to make an effort to not use because I know we grew up on it. You grew up on it. Now you too good for it. I think now that we know and we have kids, it's an ugly word. And I really don't like using it around white people. It's something that really, really.
I detest that.
Yeah, it really makes me uncomfortable. And it's a bunch of bros, and it's like a Black comedy show, and the comic is going hard, and he's actually funny, and the words that comes out, I'm not offended by it. I mean, sometimes you have to say it, like a Cat Williams joke. Sometimes you got to say it. But
all right, let me catch up on the comments. Jimmy uses it when he plays dominoes. Shout out to domino players. My dad's a champion dominoes player. Okay, Dietrich doesn't use it on the field. I would hope not. Jimmy says it's the white man's dilemma, and then he talks about
your nigger.
So shout out to my girl Princess Yamara Taylor, who is a Bruin alum who used to write on the Boondocks and also does currently write on Blackish. And shout out to my man Kenya, the creator of Blackish, my guy. Yeah. All right. So, and I don't care what you say. Shout out to the NWA. And guess what? E-full Forzagging. I never said it the other way. I always said E-full Forzagging because that's what the album cover said. You have to put it in a mirror to know what it said the other way. Right? Right. E-full Forzagging. Yeah, it has economic value. And I don't, and I like I said, I'm not judging anyone. I don't want my kid to use it. I don't use it, but the other side of the bed uses it. So I understand,
I will say this, on my favorite show of all time, Sanford and Son, some of the funniest episodes is when that N-roll rolls off his tongue. It's just so smooth.
Man.
Aunt Esther said it one time. I'm going to fell out my chair. So,
George Jefferson, Archie Bunker, they all said it.
for shock value, and like Jimmy said, it sells.
Yeah.
It just means so much more if it's used in context.
So for our viewers and our listeners, and Anthony, I know Rodney knows this just because Rodney was there when TV was invented. But speaking of Archie Bunker and George Jefferson, did you guys know? Not you, Rod, because I know you knew. Did you guys know that the Jeffersons was a spinoff of the Archie Bunker show, which was called what? Was it called All in the Family?
All in the Family. And they had to change George Jefferson because he wasn't going to work. They had to change him. The first guy was that other guy that played another guy. So they changed George. They changed Lionel. Yeah. Spinoff. They were the neighbors, right?
Yeah, and so apparently Lionel, and it was Lionel based. Like
Lionel wrote it.
Lionel, okay. So I didn't know that until like last year. And then I asked Rodney about it because, I think Rodney could teach a course on the history of television.
He lived
just because of what he remembers and because he was there for creation. Hey, one thing I always want to know, Rob, because I took a course called, I took film appreciation and I took music appreciation at St. Monica when I was there for the 2 years when Marcellus Wiley was my teammate and also Niall Benjamin and Lamar Lyons. I already said him. So my question, Rod, film appreciation. I got an A on my final project, which was a piece on Charlie Chaplin. How was it to interact with him? I've always wanted to know that. And I know you know firsthand. So tell us. You can't just smile, you have to answer.
I'm gonna let that one die.
Oh. All right. I didn't know there were two different George Jeffersons.
Yep. One was a little darker skinned guy who was not funny at all.
And then there was Sherman Hemsley.
Sherman Hemsley was perfect, man. And where they find Miss Mother Jefferson at? She looked just like him. And that was not his real mother.
Hilarious.
That was a perfect casting.
I think Rod recommended her because he used to be her kindergarten teacher too.
Oh.
Well, you used to date her.
Mother Jefferson.
So if you were the kindergarten teacher, hold on. If you
got kids with her off screen.
No, but if you were the kindergarten teacher, then that means that you have us by 40 years, right?
You dated her and had kids with her, so you could probably tell me more than I can.
Lionel was one of the Lionel. Okay, so Keith, you're talking about the actor who played Lionel on the Jeffersons. When you say Lionel, and you're saying he was one of the creators of Good Times.
Yeah, Lionel was a writer, so he came up with a lot of different ideas.
Yeah.
Oh wow, what's Lionel's name?
The funny Lionel. What's Lionel's real name?
And now that we've mentioned Good Times, I know Rodney would like to speak on it. Go ahead, Rod.
All I'm gonna say is Lionel and Norman Lear, they created masterpieces.
Okay, tell us about why you love Good Times so much.
Of course. I mean, there's only one answer, Thelma.
What's
that's the only reason to watch Good Times. They were never gonna move, and they were gonna have one misfortune after another. So, the silver lining was seeing Thelma.
So what you guys don't know, thank you, Keith. What you guys don't know is Rodney has the distinction of having taught Mike Evans, who plays for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but also taught this Mike Evans, the writer, in grade school. So Rodney is just timeless. Thank you, Rod. Thank you for teaching Lionel and not throwing Ebonics on him so that he could grow up and be a great writer. I appreciate that. Keith, thank you for your contribution. Anybody else watching that hasn't told us where they are checking in from? We've heard from pretty much everybody. We're all the way from Los Angeles to what do you say, Laurel? All the way to Maryland. Well, yeah, he taught with Lona too, Jay Moore. He taught with Lona also. But
I didn't like Walona as much as I like Thelma. I still love Thelma. I've been trying to set her husband up to do something wrong so I could slide in, but he's like the perfect dude. He won't.
Didn't her daughter play for St. Anthony?
I think so. And she dates a guy from Long Beach currently.
Okay, yeah. Now that you mention it, right when I first met Rodney, he used to tell me about this infatuation, and I officiated their daughter in basketball because she played for St. Anthony in Long Beach. One of our high school rivals at St. Monica.
Yeah.
Well, our high school rival. Well, yeah, I guess it was between St. Anthony and Bernards.
Let me ask you guys something as referees. Do you find that you have enemies because of your reffing career?
Yes. One.
People that just don't like you because you ref. And
Oh
you
no,
ref.
no, he's a ref.
Oh, he's a ref too. Okay. I mean,
So
like
you mean like fans,
family, like
enemy?
parents. Like
So
somebody
let me.
said somebody said something. And I think it was about you, AC. Oh man, that N-word ref one of my kids' games. It was like F that dude. I was like, dang.
Yeah.
Plenty of those.
Plenty of them.
So I wouldn't say enemy.
Go ahead.
I wouldn't say enemy that I can identify, but yeah, like I said on the podcast, when I had Polly Milliken and at Milliken, and Chris had to pull me away from a fight instead of me pulling Chris away from a fight. I couldn't pull that dude out of a lineup, whoever wanted to fight me that day, but I'm sure he's an enemy and he knows who I am. So that's the disadvantage of there being so few officials in the building and there being so many parents. But I wouldn't say that I actually have enemies, but yeah, there are people who take it personally when they don't like your calls. And it's like, listen, I'm not Rodney. I'm not to say that Rodney would do anything wrong, but I'm not from Long Beach. I don't care if Milliken or Polly win. I don't
either.
How many N-words did Chris use in that interaction?
Oh, well, Chris was trying to calm me down, and Chris knows.
Chris is still very harsh. Even in the calm moments, Chris was very harsh.
He said, nah, listen, come on, Ant, you can't be like me. You can't be like me. You gotta let. Oh, he did once. He was like, you gotta let that in go. You're right. But he was trying to. It was hilarious because I literally took my jacket off, hung it up, and then stepped toward the dude. And this dude is walking across the parking lot, and I don't know if he has heat or not. And I'm like, well, this could be the night to end it all. And then here comes Chris running in, holding me back, and I'm like, if this isn't a role reversal, I don't know what is. This is crazy.
And that's a true story because I was right there.
Oh. Okay, hold on, Rod. So Jay Moore is right. Yes, I do have enemies in lacrosse because that is the entitled sport, and a lot of players don't think I can. They don't think I belong, and they don't understand. My pants always sag because I ref my ass off. They don't really understand that I really know what the fuck I'm doing. So they get it twisted. So yes, there are some of them that would probably like to see me erased, if you will. You're right, Jay Moore.
I've only ref one game. I've only ref one football game, and I was told I don't know football. By a team of parents, you don't know football.
So let me rationalize it for you, Cobbs. You clearly know football, right? However, right, you do. But here's what they mean, and they can't articulate. They also don't know football, but when to become a phenomenal official, you can't just have played the game. You have to understand the rule book, and you have to understand the rule book at the level that you're working. You have to understand the mechanics of the position that you're working at the level that you're working. You have to then understand the nuances of officiating and then put it all together. And if you can't do all of that, then the easiest way to articulate that is to just say that you don't know football.
Right.
Yeah. The last part you mentioned, the nuances of a call. It was powder puff football. Girl got PI'd across the middle. It was within 5 yards. I'm laughing. She got jammed up. You gotta call that PI. I was like, it's powder puff. You don't know football. I'm like, I hate this. You can have this.
See? So how beautiful is that? Now, for those that are listening and watching, he mentioned 5 yards across the middle. Well, that's illegal contact in the NFL, but there's no such rule there's no such reprieve in powder puff football or college football, which Anthony played, or high school football, which Anthony played, or junior jackrabbits, which Anthony played. There is no 5 yard cushion. Right. You can't make that contact across the middle. So it was PI, but again, it's powder puff, and it was your first day and last day. But you referenced an NFL rule, and there you go.
Yeah, I think a lot of people who just yell at the television and yell from the sidelines at a Pop Warner game or at a AAU game or something like that, I would love to see them just be out there for about 5 minutes. They'd
Yeah.
have a whole new outlook on life. And that's why I don't bother arguing with people. Like sometimes a game will be on or something and somebody may call me with a question. But other than that, I'm in little Facebook groups like, that various around. And I listen to some of the coaches when they may share a play or something and they'll be complaining, man, the ref called this a travel. And I'm like, yeah, he was correct, but I don't say it. I just, because I'm not going to change their thinking. And of course, they're not going to change mine, but they just don't know any better. And really, what I've learned after playing and then reffing is you look at the game completely different. Like it's hard for me to just be a fan anymore. I don't get to just sit down and watch the game and just love the game. I'm always thinking, why'd they have a double whistle on that? Like, well, why did he throw a flag on that? Where's the restriction? I mean, like, I'm sitting there thinking all of these things every single play. And a lot of times I'll call AC and say, hey, or he'll call me and say, hey, did you see this? Did you see that play? Turn the television, go to 8:32 in the second quarter, whatever. But it's really difficult after you've learned the rule book and learn what someone can do and because you basically know what you've been taught by your coaches or by whatever you did growing up.
Right.
And once you get into the rule book and the mechanics book, you realize none of that stuff is correct. Like, and I've said it before on the podcast, coaches it's very rare that a coach will come to a ref meeting and sit and watch film with the refs or go over rules at the ref meetings. Like I said before, Raul Lara, he did come to at least a couple of meetings every season. And he would sit in with the football refs and listen to how they were going to call stuff or what was new, what they were going to try to take out. But refs across the board, no, they don't. And athletic directors for high school get the rule books, they get everything they're supposed to have, and they just sit on a desk. They don't pass them to the coaches. So the coaches get out there on the sideline. They're yelling at the refs. What about this? What about that? No. Where is that in the rule book?
Should have been in the meeting.
Right.
Should have been at the meeting. Or should have read the book. Ask your AD for the book.
So my father-in-law texted me the other day, and he was like, yeah, Cleveland got screwed. And I was like, well, how did they get screwed? And he was like, that was a touchdown. And I was like, well, tell me about it. Why was it a touchdown? He was like, I was like, no, I don't know. Like, let's talk through it. So we talk about and I believe it was Cleveland, whoever almost had a touchdown in the end zone, but his forearm landed out of bounds. Was that Cleveland? Let's just say it was. I'm not talking about the fumble through the end zone because my dad actually hit me about that one. But he was saying that they got screwed and they took a touchdown away. And I was like, well, talk me through the touchdown. He was like, he had both feet in. And I said, well, think about when he actually possessed the ball. What was his body doing? And I said, when he possessed the ball, his forearm was out of bounds. His forearm was on the ground, out of bounds. So his feet don't matter if he hasn't yet controlled the ball. And he was like, oh, well, he was like, well, why you mess me up? Like, I didn't want this to be logical. I just wanted to be mad. But yeah, when you reach out to me, I'm going to talk through the rules of the game and really give you, what's what. So like when I was talking to my dad the other day, he thought Cleveland got screwed because there was the defender from Kansas City led with his helmet and made contact above the shoulders with the Cleveland player. And then he fumbled the ball through the end zone. And my question to my dad was, is your issue that the helmet, that the launch or that the contact, the leading with the helmet wasn't called, or are you saying that the helmet is what jarred the ball loose? I didn't hear back from him about that, but I did have to ask him. And so this is how I summed it up. You have contact leading with the helmet in the NFL all the time that is not called because it's still new, believe it or not, to the NFL. In college, these players never get by. It's targeting. And there are a couple different ways that you can have targeting. And on that particular play, both elements exist. You had contact, you had a launch, and you had forcible contact with the crown of the helmet, right? So that's one element. Forcible contact with the crown of the helmet on the defenseless player anywhere on their body is targeting. And then part two, you have forcible contact above the shoulder of a defenseless player. So you also had that element. So you had two different targeting fouls that could have been thrown if it's college. But in the NFL, it's newer and it's not anything that they look for. And replay can't throw that flag. Like in the NCAA, replay will throw that flag if nobody on the field gets it. So it's different. So what I was saying to my dad was, it's not them getting screwed. It's just something that they're not used to calling yet because they're no longer in college. And they miss these all game. And I said, like, we could watch this same game and I could point out a couple different times when it wasn't called. It's just that one stands out to you because you feel like it was related to a touchdown that wound up turning into a touchback.
Are all those rules reviewed and voted upon every year? Because that play to me looked pretty clean. Even though he led with his helmet, the intent wasn't to harm. It was to jar a ball loose, and you could see the ball. So I didn't see it as malicious. I didn't see the intent of a spear. I saw it as an intent to get the ball out at the goal line. That was all he could do. If he would have went with his hands to knock it out, it wouldn't have been strong enough. So I don't know how. I'm glad they didn't call it because it was too bang, too hard for a ref to call something like that in that moment, and you can't review it. I don't know. But I feel for you guys on stuff like that. Like that right there was impossible to call spearing when he did not intend to hurt. I think it should be some type of intent, like a flagrant 2 in basketball.
So, all right. So I appreciate that, Mr. Cobbs. And so luckily in college, which is the level that I work, we don't have to determine intent. It just needs to be forcible contact. And to your point, so the bang doesn't matter in college, but in the NFL, you say you're glad that it wasn't called. So cool, it wasn't called, and we move on from it. But I love having these kinds of conversations with people who like to get my opinion. And like Rod said, I have to give you my thought process as an official. Like I have to walk through it all.
You sound like a police officer trying to justify a murder. I need to see the facts. I need to see the evidence because you guys are taught. You guys have to look at every situation individually and subjectively.
I'm glad you said that.
I couldn't be an attorney general trying to walk through the facts. I had to be a cop.
But hey, Cobbs, I'm glad you said that because I've said that in a live video before. Reffing is so much like police officer work. And I've made that the point, and I'm glad you brought it up here because a lot of people would be better refs if they went by the mechanics manual, just like police officers. If they went by the manual, we wouldn't have so many of these issues. We wouldn't have so many deaths, but they don't go by the manual. They make it up as they go along. They approach your car. They tell you, let me have your license registration. Well, what did I do? Just let me have your license registration. Then after they run it, and realize, oh, this person doesn't have any outstanding tickets or warrants. Have a nice day. Well, what did I do? Well, you made it. You look like you were on your cell phone. I mean, like make up something.
Yeah.
Just to fish for something to have a reason to take you to jail. And we got officials in sports who fish for things. They spend the whole game looking for something to call.
Hey, hold on. Right, exactly. So we got comments that I have to respond to. First of all, before we get to you, that's my cousin's husband, by the way. Who are you talking about? It's Hushman Zada. I'll tag it in a minute. I guess you're talking about when he was at Poly.
TJ, who's your mama?
But hold on. I want to respond. I need to say something. So, please don't let me lose this thought.
Concussion.
So I think and that's the thing. What you said, Cobbs. It's so important to be able to break everything down. And obviously you got to do it in real time, but you have to be able to break things down, and you shouldn't call what you can't explain. You shouldn't call what you don't understand. And you have to be able to talk to a coach much more than you have to be able to talk to the players. You have to be able to talk through this, whatever it is that you called, why you called it, that whole thing. But that's the thing. I'm not a robot, but I'm very technical out there. I'm not freewheeling. I'm not living by this, riding by the seat of my pants. Like, I'm out there. I know all of the rules. I know the mechanics. I do things the right way. And so when we get to Jimmy's second one, maybe I was the ref on Jimmy's game. Let's see, because we have to talk about it. But let's go through this stuff in order. So Jimmy says one ref got mad because one of my players was throwing the ball to him and it went over his head. So he threw a flag and said the kid did it out of frustration. The kid slipped and fell on a punt return that he would have scored on. We were up 16-0 in the first quarter. We ended up winning the game 24-8. But he had several long runs called back from the line judge on downfield blocks that weren't his call. Between he and the white hat, they called at least 10 back-breaking penalties that kept that team. Did we not get the whole thing?
It's probably part 2.
Yeah, but I'm thinking maybe not. Maybe like it's actually on Facebook. It's just not showing up here. Let me see.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it cuts off. It cuts off after that kept the team.
Here we go. I'll keep reading it. That kept the team
in the game. It says in the game. Also 2 touchdowns called back on long runs. So the 4th and 35 with 2 minutes left, I called a timeout. Read the ref his rights and told him exactly what the play was going to be. And he bet not throw a flag. We ran this week, and the kid scored a 68-yard touchdown to put the game away.
So I need you guys to understand that I love Jimmy Mack, but if Jimmy Mack talked to me like that, Jimmy Mack wouldn't have been able to finish his sentence, and he would have been in the parking lot. I need you to understand. You could try to read me my rights. You could ask St. Anthony's coach about that. You could try to, and I'm talking football. You could try that, but here it is. When a coach says call back from the line judge on downfield blocks that wasn't his call. Okay, so tell me how you know, Jimmy. Tell me how you know it wasn't his call.
He was standing behind Jimmy.
And what made it not his call? Let's go to part 2. Let's go to part 2 with Jimmy, because part 2 is basketball.
Part 2 is hilarious.
What's my buddy's name in Long Beach Poly? Sharif. What's your boy's name? Sharif. Yeah, Sharif. I'm definitely Sharif.
He did not like AC at all.
I'm sure Sharif feels like I'm his enemy.
He would come to me all the time. Rod, what's wrong with your boy? What he doesn't like me? Who are you talking about? Mr. Mechanic. Mr. Mechanic's over there.
All right. So let's read the second one. Another ref allowed the team's bigs to camp out in the paint in a girls' game and never called 3 seconds. I pointed out to him that he said that the girl was not in the paint for 3 seconds. So I had my girls on the bench count out loud, tech. How long the girl was in the paint.
That's a tech?
Oh, you couldn't do that. Hell yeah, that's a tech.
Yeah. You showing them up.
Yeah.
You showing them up.
Hey, what's up, Nina? Where you checking in from? Nina wouldn't give you a tech, though. Nina just loves everybody. So Nina be like, come on, Coach Jimmy. That 3 seconds. Nina's too nice. I'll tee your ass. Wait a minute. So here's the thing, Jimmy. If you understand 3 seconds, and it really was 3 seconds, and I was wrong, and I'm never wrong about 3 seconds, but if I were wrong, then I was wrong. Well, no, because here's the thing. Because I call it.
He does.
I call it. But here's the thing. 3 seconds is very technical. You have to understand when the count starts and when the count stops. And if the count ever stops, then it's either going to be reset or they're shooting. So it's off. But a lot of coaches don't understand when 3 seconds starts and stops. And that's where a lot of problems come in, because they're expecting it when they shouldn't be, or they're not expecting it's happening.
Right. And all calls have philosophies to them. I mean, if they got bigs standing in the paint, but those bigs never get the ball, do you really want to keep stopping the game clock and stopping the game to call 3 seconds on that? I mean, like, their perimeter players taking threes, and you call it on the big girl who's just standing there and look like she's never played basketball in her life, can't catch a cold, or even if they try to throw her the ball, she'd fumble it out of bounds. I mean, like, why penalize her?
You gotta say something to it. That would help her learn the game.
All you gotta do is just say, hey, 55, get out the paint.
So listen, all of you aspiring coaches out there and parents, I have one thing that I could give you that you could be armed with to shoot back at Rodney. Yeah, she may not know what she's doing in there, but here's the thing, and this is what I say to my partners who have the philosophy that if they're not getting the ball, it's okay. Sometimes that's okay, but they're also in better position to rebound, and that's the problem. They're not going to get the entry pass, but they're in better position to rebound because they camped out in the paint. So I feel like that's a retort. Let me respond to Keith before I go to these other comments. It's absolutely not an observation, Keith. The observation was, ref, she's in there for 3 seconds. When you have your girls counting, when they don't even know when to count and when to stop counting, that's absolutely making a mockery of the game. So yeah, that's not an observation. That doesn't work at any level. Have you ever seen a college game or a pro game where you have players on the bench counting 1, 2, 3?
Never.
There's a reason why. There's a reason why not, I could say.
There's more at stake. I wanted to get to Cobb's question about people who don't like you. I had a guy, let me see, I got a couple of them.
You can't go in a grocery store.
But
there he is.
Well, I don't live out there. That luckily
there was a lady that went to my church. And this lady was always pleasant, always, hey, Rodney, how's your family? How's your mom?
And you
tell her I love her. Oh, you guys just have such a sweet family, blah, 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 blah. She had a son that played lower level basketball for Milliken. Milliken is getting blown out by some goofy team. I mean, like, they're just executing and hitting threes left and right. The score is like 82-17 or something like that. Like, when the score is that lopsided, you can't blame the refs. I mean, like, when it's a blowout, it's what you're not doing. So her son, towards the end of the game, did something, and I teed him. And
with the church and got cussed out.
And he walked over to me, and he's like, Mr. Saucier, you know, why'd I get a T for that? So I explained it to him, and he was cool with it. He's like, okay. I talked to the coach. I said, hey, this is why I'm giving him a T. You know, I warned you guys not to do that. He did it. But coach was cool with it. Game over. They lose by like 60. The mom makes a beeline to me. She almost falls out the stands trying to get down the stands so fast. Runs over to me. Rodney, I need to talk to you. I said, okay, what's up? I cannot believe the calls you made, and you gave my son a T, and he never does anything to anybody. And you gave him a T, and you caused that team to lose by 60-something points. I just shook my head and gave her a little smile. And I said, okay, well, I'm sorry. You know, I hope they play better next time. She got so mad, she took off and left her son standing with me, got in her car and left the parking lot. The boy had no way home.
Oh, she was upset.
She was hot. And I stood there with him because I didn't want him to be there alone. But I'm like, I really don't want to take this dude home and have to like run into her again because obviously she's hot. So I waited another 10 minutes. I guess she realized, hey, I must have left something at the gym. Oh, my son. So she comes back. She pokes her head in the door. He sees his mom. Oh, never mind, Mr. Rodney. She came back. He takes off running to her. I see her the following Sunday at church after she done hick him aside and prayed and all that, did not speak to me no more. And I don't mean just the following Sunday. I mean again in life.
Done in life.
Done. Not know how's your mama. No, how are your kids? None of that. She was out.
That's not very godly. That's not very Christian-like. Man, that's this thing.
Yeah. And so I told him while we were standing there, I'm like, okay, how many games have you guys won? He's like 2. I said, how many have you lost? He's like 13. I said, you guys 2 and 13. How many did you lose by last game? 40. I said, so really, if you guys lose them by an average of like 40 points, do you really think it's the ref's fault?
Maybe it's your fault.
Tell your mama that.
I don't care about them. I care about you. I know you. You're supposed to do better by us.
That's probably what it is.
Yeah. All right. So I'm going to go back to Jimmy Mack. So Jimmy told us more about the situation. Jimmy, that official was seemingly a bad official, the basketball one. I think you got it wrong in football. But I think your approach should be different. I don't know what the stakes were for this game that you wound up losing 26-18, but it seems like the official was in the wrong. And I know that, and I don't know if you have the patience for this, but parents and coaches, this is what you do. You take the video of that game. Well, first of all, this is what you do in the game. Ref, you know what? I think I must be misunderstanding how 3 seconds is gauged or how the 3 seconds penalty is gauged. Can you talk me through how you call it or don't call it? And then hold their feet to the fire when they explain it, because they should be able to explain it. That's the first thing. If you don't get the outcome you want, Jimmy, then you get the video of that game, and then you send it to the league, the assigner, whatever, and have it be a point of discussion, right? So that it can be, that wrong can be righted. You're not going to get the win back, but the way that you've explained it, again, having your girls do the counting, that's an automatic tech. But it does seem like the official was wrong. So I just wanted to say that. And then this other official that that told you not to press because they went up by double digits, that's similar to something Rodney would do, but not just double digits. It would have to be like 40, and then Rodney would probably start tugging on your heartstrings, because Rodney is generally an official who triples as a coach and counselor also. But just going up by double digits, like Nina said, Jimmy, that's a bad official.
Terrible.
So, okay, I don't.
So who reffed the Lisa Leslie game when she had 100 points in the first half?
Well, I wasn't officiating then. I know Rodney was nearing retirement, but
you just weren't on that game.
She was pressing by herself and stealing the inbounds pass.
You know what?
What level was this, Jimmy?
High school.
Oh, league title on the line? Yeah, they should have been calling everything.
What high school?
I think he coached the prep and the Gardena.
26-18. Hey, 18. That's coaching. How you only score 18 in the game?
He said they like the parking lot.
Oh, but you didn't tell me you had LA unit officials. I didn't know this was high school. I thought you were talking about like hair, like some
city section. City section.
You gonna have me fighting, man. Jimmy, you gonna have me fighting. By the way, my buddy is the men's coach at the prep. Shout out to Coach King.
I know we stay on the ref title a long time, but this is
hold on. My boy Joe King is the head coach of men's basketball at the prep.
How many of your colleagues have gotten in actual fights in the parking lot?
Rodney got in the parking lot before.
Never. But I have one to choke some of my partners at halftime. I will not lie about that.
Some of your ref partners?
Yes. Game time.
Fight partners? You said you wanted to fight partners, Rod?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's I can see that.
Yeah. That's a definite. Like people don't understand, refs don't always agree. And that's one of the things that I've had to work on over the years, is not showing facial expressions when I don't agree. Because that stuff shows up on camera. You know, if you know you making a face like, I can't believe he just did that. You know, you'll have a boss saying, "Hey, what's with the faces?" And I went to a Long Beach State game before the quarantine when they first started using the flop mechanic, which is this in men's basketball. And these Big West officials reffing Long Beach State and University of San Diego, and one particular ref just kept blowing out of his primary, and he kept giving flop mechanics and had San Diego shooting technical fouls. Monson lost his mind, the Long Beach State coach. I mean, he had to be restrained at halftime. And I can't say I blamed him. I mean, he was correct, and there are times where coaches are correct, and your partner, you have to look at them like, what are you thinking about? You tearing this game up. And you go in at halftime, and some of them will be like, oh, my bad. And some of them will be like, no, that's what it is. And then when it happens again, I'm going to call it some more. And
sounds like the police again. You guys are police. If the police would police each other the same way, we would have less bad activity in the streets.
Exactly. Because they ask for reports for refs too. When you check in on arbiter, they have game reports. And if the coach had an issue with something, or if you had an issue with something, it's supposed to be in that report.
Get rolled up.
Well,
but you got people who feel like, well, I don't want to be a snitch, just like police. So they won't say anything. And it keeps happening.
But if you get followed to the parking lot like Dietrich, you got to say something. Now your life is in danger because y'all called a bad game. He asked, like the refs asked security, how many police officers do we have? 10. And it's 100,000 people mad at you. Whatever the audience wants, you give them that call because you don't want to go home. You don't want to get killed in the parking lot.
And that's what I was going to say to Jimmy Mack. If you come at some of these refs the wrong way, they will completely freeze up and get scared and either not blow anything or they will blow everything. So you have to be careful at how you approach them because some of them have really thin skin.
Rodney, what's Whittier's rival's name? Is it Lacerna?
Yeah.
All right. So I had a Whittier.
That whole division is.
Well, who's okay? So where did it wasn't?
Whittier. Yeah, I know Lacerna and Santa Fe and Whittier, and yeah, I guess it's Whittier and Lacerna are rivals too.
Okay, so I had the league championship game, the regular season game, which would determine league, and I had Whittier and Lacerna, and I was at Whittier. I called an intentional foul on Whittier on a take foul because he went through the kid's throat to get to the ball and never got to the ball. Like it was a really bad take foul. So I called an intentional foul. Whittier wound up losing the game. That's not my fault. The AD who has to let us in the locker room starts talking shit as we're going to the locker room, telling me that I can't have my check until he talks to the assigners.
Whoa.
Oh, hold on. I'm sorry. When I called the intentional foul, I'm reporting it to the table, and the AD is sitting at the table, supposed to be impartial. He starts shaking his head no, and then waves me off.
Oh.
And so I let him know in no uncertain terms, if he can't be impartial, then he needs to leave the table. Well, I'm the AD. I don't care. This is our table. Like anybody that's at the table is an extension of the officiating crew. So you cannot be here making comments about the calls that we make. So then he tells me on the way to the locker room after they lost, he's not gonna give me my check until he talks to the assigners.
So now we gotta fight. You gotta fight at that point, bro.
Well, I would
your money.
Well, let me just tell you, no, not a female AD, Nina. So I was working with Steve. I don't remember his name. I was working with Richard. I don't know who I was working with. Somebody. He said, let me handle this. And I was like, nah, I'm about to handle this right now. He's going to give me my money because like you don't get to judge my calls before you pay me. Like he's going to hand you a check and not hand me a check. He's feeling a little too entitled. So the guy said that that wasn't how it worked and that he needed to pay me right then, just like the other guy was getting paid, and that he could talk to whomever he wanted to, but that he also supported my cause. But it's just the entitlement of it all is nuts, that this guy thought that it was okay to withhold my money because he didn't agree with my calls. And then here's the thing. The assigner at the time, or the junior assigner at the time, would a lot of times just go with what coaches said as opposed to actually watching game film. And that's my point. Like, that film is everything. And as long as you as an official are consistent, you know how to speak the game, you are mechanically sound, and you know how to talk to coaches, it doesn't matter if they lie on you or not, because the film is not going to lie. I just want to say that.
Right.
Jimmy's still talking about his time as the coach. Jimmy saying he's calmer than 40. Yeah, but Jimmy, we wouldn't have had issues because I would have talked you through things and you would have understood why things were happening as they were, and then you would have never been able to blow your top with me, right, or put yourself in a precarious position by having your girls make fun of the official. And the other thing is, even if they don't call a tech on you, you could wait until one of the players comes in the game that you had making fun of them, and then they could just foul them out real quick. So you want to be very careful about that kind of thing. One thing I was going to say earlier, and I lost my train of thought, but I remembered when we were talking about manuals, rule books, and all of that. My first mentor in basketball became my mentor, and at the time he was already a high-level NCAA official. He became my mentor before I ever worked a single basketball game, and he told me the importance of the manual, the official's manual. I'd never heard of it, and I learned that in basketball, a lot of people haven't heard of it, even once they start officiating. But if you do everything that you're supposed to do per the manual, then you keep yourself out of trouble, even if you are not a student of the rule book. Now, you should be a student of both, but you need to be mechanically sound so that you're in the right position to do everything. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. The women's basketball.
Two different things.
Yeah. Oh, you already got your 2021, huh? Oh, I guess I did too. I don't even know where it is because I haven't worked yet. But I do have a doubleheader in the RMAC coming up in about a month.
And I'm sure police officers probably have two different books also. I'm sure they have a manual plus a book probably full of penal codes and whatever else they need.
Yeah, it's literally called the penal code.
Okay.
Yeah. That's the law.
I lost audio on Cobbs.
I'm saying it was probably just like the police, and they don't read them. So if there are any officers on this podcast, we've learned a lot about teaching kids you don't know for the first time. You must speak their language. And to police people or ref people, you better know your stuff.
Bam. Yeah. That being said, congratulations to Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Amanda Gorman and Michelle Obama and Barack Obama. Hey, Anthony, close out.
Close out. It's a new day, man. I'm sitting in my garage looking outside and the sky is blue. Again, I don't put a lot of faith in people, presidents and politicians and whoever. But I know when there's an opportunity with people that have a little bit of sense, at least competent people that are open to hearing your thoughts and your concerns, we have an opportunity to make change. So I'm going to continue to say my thing about social justice and police reform and being positive this year in this 2021. And just know it's a new day, man. Our vote counted. We got 2 new seats in the Senate. We have a new administration. Everything's not going to be fixed in no 4 years, but we have an opportunity for a change to happen because we have people that at least will at least listen to the people to get our concerns met. So I'm happy about what's happening. I'm not too happy about the Eagles signing a new head coach who has never been a coordinator on his own before. But the Sixers are playing good ball. So I'm happy about that. So I'm happy about a lot of things, and I'm glad I came on today. I had a good time. I learned a lot about being a ref. I still wouldn't want to be one. Hats off to you guys. Shalom, shalom.
Thank you. Rod.
Yep. Just piggybacking off of AC, man. Cobbs. Same thing. You know, today is a new day, but we can't put faith in others. You know, we have to, if you are a believer, put faith in God, you have to act on your own. Congress is not going to just come to you and just offer you whatever you want. We have to make it happen. And DC doesn't move unless you write letters and do your part to get them to hear you. So with that in mind, hold this administration to the promises they made plus some. Tell them what you want and allow them to give it to you. And if you don't get what you want, move in a different direction. But don't sit and complain about what you're not getting and what you're not able to do, because you think that they're just going to make some laws and everything's going to fall in your lap. Loving the way this sports stuff is going down right now. I'm not excited about some of the things we discussed on the day as far as the coaching vacancies and the handling of the NCAA with HBCUs. But we got to keep fighting to make changes, man, and continue to stay healthy. And let's try to get things back to the way they were so we can enjoy sports firsthand. Be safe.
Thank you, Rod. Follow up from Dietrich. He said that the Cathedral, and he's talking football, the Cathedral coach held the checks to the end of the game, followed them to the locker room to criticize their calls. Well, talk about wanting to fight. Dietrich, I had some really interesting times on Mike Davis's college crew, like when I was a guest. So I'll just leave it at that. Michelle Obama, would you like to close out? Michelle, LaVon, Robinson, Obama, would you like to close out before I do? Oh, you would like to? Okay.
Bam.
Let them know. Let them know.
I'm stepping out of a fashion magazine.
Easy.
Yeah.
All right.
That
So
Nubian.
the former first lady, ladies and gentlemen. All right. So this was episode, I'll just say it, episode Roman numeral 45, XLV of the Collective Podcast. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for listening. If you're listening to the replay, shout out to all of our participants: Dietrich Ellis, Rodney Perry, B. Keith Lester, Jay Moore, Javon F. Moore, Judy Carter, Anthony Carter Sr., Jimmy McElroy the fourth. I already said Dietrich. I think that's everyone. Nina Grubbs. Shout out to Nina. Anthony Cobbs. Where can we find AC Sports Live and when?
Man, y'all can holler at your boy on Tuesday nights at 9 p.m. on Facebook Live, YouTube, Periscope, and Twitch. And Friday nights at 1585 show. Jimmy Mack and myself. And Thursdays, I've been on here pretty regularly. So on the Collective Podcast with you, Jive Turkeys. I was standing in for Trey Hop.
There you go. Tell us about where we can find Jimmy Mack's the Sucker Punch podcast. When and where?
Tonight. If you want to hear a little bit more opinionated banter, Jimmy Mack's on tonight at 9. Facebook.
All right. Thank you for that. And we are every Thursday at 12, and you can listen to our replays on Spotify and other DSPs such as Anchor, and you can always watch our replays and watch us live on Facebook and YouTube. Okay, so closing out again, I'm not someone who judges anybody on anything. You know, I have background not only as an athlete and as an official, but also as a journalist. So I'm generally just really asking questions and trying to provoke thought. So when I share something with you, it's not because I'm trying to influence you to do something, unless I'm saying wear a mask. I got the first dose of my vaccination on Monday because I think it's the right thing to do, and it was available to me because I contract with a medical facility, and so I am around patients at times, and so I fell into the category of healthcare worker for the purposes of the vaccine. I got Moderna, so my second one is 28 days from the first one, so that's February 15th. Not saying that anybody else needs to do it or should do it, but just please educate yourself on it. That's what I am asking. Educate yourself on it and make a determination one way or another. There are plenty of safety protocols in place that weren't in place before when Black people got duped on vaccinations and the like. So just keep that in mind. Also, please pray for anyone who has been touched by this pandemic, and that's pretty much most of the people in the world. We have reached, as a nation, 400,000 deaths from this pandemic, and it's absolutely critical. It's absolutely sad. It's absolutely disgusting. And then people are just still dying from other things. And so, please pray for anyone who has lost a loved one or who has someone in critical condition, and just please be careful, be safe. For those of you that prayed for or had good thoughts for my buddy Jay, who was down for the count with double pneumonia, COVID-19 related double pneumonia, he's back at home. He's still having some struggles breathing, but he is back at home, and he feels like he's over the worst of it. And he got his first shot right before he caught it, so his second dose is coming up in about 5 days. So he'll probably be in great position to never get it again. He's 5 days from now. So next Tuesday, he's his second dose. Hey man, I appreciate you guys. This is episode 45, Roman numeral XLV. Like Rodney and Anthony essentially said, use your voice. Your voice is powerful. It's more powerful than you think. Please don't be the person that says, my voice doesn't matter, my voice doesn't count, so I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to sit back and complain. Yes, your voice means nothing, and your voice is powerless if you don't use it. Where's that damn mic?
You don't make any shots you don't take.
Let me drop my mic.
Shoot the three.
Shoot the three. Shoot the three and be clutch.
What Prince say? Shoot the J. Shoot it.
Shoot the J. Hey, thank you all. I am AC from LA. Back in the corner is Saucier. Rodney. No, Zaire is back there.
And Lauren. Lauren's over here too.
Oh, what's up, Lauren? Thank you, Saucier. Wow. Wow. That shout out to our guest host, Anthony Cobb, Cobbs, AC Sports Live. Remember when this was happening and it caused such an uproar? Boy, look at the world today. I think my man was onto something. And if you look to Kaepernick's right, two people to his right, that guy in that blue jacket is kind of dapper too. What up, AC?
That sellout that won't take a knee. That sellout that wouldn't take a knee with the brothers. Yeah.
Hey, what up, TQ?
That's the police officer guy.
Oh, there you go. No, we're no. Officials are not
kneeling. Take a knee. Now, why did you take a knee with the brothers?
Well, I took a knee internally. I took a knee internally. All right.
He wanted to keep his job.
Listen, shout out to Jay Moore once again. Shout out to Jimmy Mack once again. Shout out to everybody that joined us. We appreciate you. I am leaving town, so best believe I will not make it to 1585, but I will likely make it to Sucker Punch. I won't be on 1585 at all because I will be celebrating Brianna's birthday in my mask and shield in Las Vegas. We appreciate you guys. We love you. Thank you for coming. Please come back next Thursday. Please check Anthony Cobbs out on Tuesdays on AC Sports Live, 9 o'clock on Facebook. Check out Jimmy Mack on the Sucker Punch podcast on Thursdays at 9 Pacific. And check out Anthony and Jimmy on 1585 on Fridays at 9 p.m. Pacific. Jimmy Mack, safe travels. Thank you. I appreciate you. And all of you guys, thank you. We love you. We out.
Sammy Sosa.